Welcome everyone to the Open Day Music and Creative Arts panel. I'm Cody Lower, and we're going to run through some of the frequently asked questions about studying music and creative arts at Southern Cross University. We'll give you a great understanding about what your study can look like, but also the opportunities while you're studying and where you can go with these sort of careers and courses. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge we are on the lands of the Bundjalung Nation today and to pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. Today I'm joined by industry partner Kirsty Abrahams and Associate Professor Grayson Cook. Grayson, can we start off by understanding a little bit about yourself, but about all the course options here at Southern Cross University when it comes to music and creative arts?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here. So I'm Grayson Cook. I am the Chair of Creative Arts at Southern Cross University, which means I broadly oversee degrees in digital media, art and design, and contemporary music. And in the education faculty, we also have a degree in creative writing. I'm also the course coordinator of the digital media degree, and so that's really where my focus is. I'm a media artist and media practitioner. I work in image and sound and being creative with those media forms in mainly, an artistic exhibition screening kind of context. And I work a lot with scientists as well. A lot of my work crosses over. So the degrees, as I mentioned, digital media, art and design, and contemporary music. They all have a similar structure, these degrees. They have 20 core units, which are all defined. And then there's 4 electives where you can choose anything from around the university. I don't know, do you want me to kind of describe in more detail each one?
So we have the Bachelors of Contemporary Music, and that's 3 years?
Yeah, so look, they're all 3-year degrees. Contemporary music runs on our Coomera Creative Campus and the Lismore campus. Digital media runs on Coomera campus, Lismore campus, and also online as well. And many of our online students are from the Gold Coast region and may often do a kind of a hybrid. All of our students can study a bit online, a bit on campus. We find having that flexibility and a few different campuses really suits students' interests and a need for flexibility to work in with, work, life, travel, study, what have you. And art and design is run solely on Lismore campus. And that's mainly because each of these degrees have really rich, hands-on, practical, studio-oriented processes. And so in different places, we have, fantastic television studio, performance studios, recording studios, rehearsal studios, and all the equipment that goes with that. So they're really rich experiences, and online students can access that equipment and those studios as well if they can get to one of the campuses.
And talking about online students, obviously these degrees sound really practical and hands-on. I've been in the Coomera Creative Campus myself, and I was watching a student presentation or I guess preparing for a conference, and that was really amazing. What do online students do? Do they have like intensive blocks so they can access those facilities and get those practical elements or anything like that when it comes to those sort of courses?
Look, we have big equipment stores in Lismore and a smaller one here in Gold Coast, so students can borrow equipment and use that as part of their productions, and that's 4K cameras and professional lighting kits and sound recording kits and all of those things that underpin professional media production. The reality of media industries today, though, is that they're really diverse, highly mobile, and there are media production technologies everywhere and frequently just, in your pocket. Mobile media and social media are extremely kind of, user-oriented things. And so many of our students are creative with whatever tools come their way, and that could be mobile media, DSLRs, consumer tech, right up to, professional production cameras and whatever. So, our students learn to be adaptive and kind of, innovative with what's at hand. We live in a constantly growing, constantly changing media environment, and being agile and hands-on with that is a core part of being any kind of creative practitioner today.
And I can really understand that, especially in the last couple of years when obviously we've been so heavily impacted as a society. Media has thrived, with online concepts or creative concepts as well, and new platforms as well that have came out in the last few years, and it's ever evolving. It was not the same as it was a few years ago, and who's to say in a couple of years' time what it'll look like and what we're engaged by. Myself, I'm actually a past student here from Southern Cross University. I studied the Bachelor of Business majoring in Marketing and Digital Media, so I did a dual major a part of my course, and you can still do a major in digital media part of our uni-wide majors at our university. And I can really advocate understanding our online systems and processes as well as the creative agency opportunities online, such as even simple concepts such as digital marketing. You'd be naive to assume that you shouldn't understand these concepts with the world going online, and you're not just focused in your local footprint area when it comes to any of your creative arts or skills that you want to explore. You can really take it to the world if you want to. And that's why we really do have Kirsty here today, is you have a wealth of experience in the industry, as well as you're a past, I'm assuming, a music student over the time you have studied in this sort of field. What has your career brought you to today, and what's your attachment to Southern Cross?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kirsty, as you've said, and I work for the Gold Coast Music Network and the Gold Coast Music Awards as their Music Industry Development Coordinator. So my role with the Gold Coast Music Network is to connect artists with music industry professionals. So we partner with Southern Cross, and they are sponsoring our Artist of the Year award this year, which is why I'm here today, is to encourage students to jump into the music industry if that's what you're interested in, because I've actually studied a Bachelor of Popular Music, not at Southern Cross, and also a Masters of Music Business, but I can definitely say that music education and creative education can definitely set you up for a career in the music industry.
Yeah, that Gold Coast Music Awards really, excelling local talent. I know there's a really fantastic band called Wildheart, which is an Indigenous local band, all from the local area, and they're very proud Indigenous people who are part of that band and doing amazing things and getting onto some amazing festivals. And on the topic of festivals and music, and I guess the part where a lot of our artists really want to pursue that sort of industry, what are our relationships to the industry? And I guess if our students are wanting to get into that scene, Grayson, you might be the best person to answer this.
Well, sure. Gold Coast Music Awards. We have sponsorship arrangements certainly with a lot of festivals and kind of cultural agencies or organisations. We're a sponsor of HOTA here on the Gold Coast. World-class art facility. We're a sponsor of Screenworks in the Northern Rivers, who are a screen resource organisation, and they support the screen and media industries in the region, professional development, conferences, seminars. They sponsor mentoring opportunities for our students. They'll connect our students with industry professionals. And so I think that's a really key element of our relationship with these kinds of organisations. They're all about creating that liaison between our students as they move through study and look into the professional world. Our sponsorships and our partners become really significant touch points for getting work experience, perhaps your first job, a commission or a short-term contract. Many of our students, through a festival or a sponsor or through doing an internship, end up in full-time employment. So we have the same kind of relationships with all the local galleries, Tweed, Lismore, Ballina. They all need, obviously they need art and artists. They need communication specialists. They need curators and curatorial assistants. So there's kind of internship experiences across all of these agencies as well.
I think internships and practical experiences are a fantastic talking point, and especially across like the creative courses and those industry connections. What do our internship opportunities or practical work experience look like? Like, commonly when I studied business, I could do a 2-subject internship or a 4-subject internship would equal 250 hours or 450 hours, and I could work in the industry, and that would count as me studying at university, which was awesome. Right? I was more of a practical student. I wasn't great in the classroom, so for me that worked really well. As well as I actually gained employment straight away from that second internship I did. Is it quite similar in the music and in the other creative fields?
Yeah, so the digital media degree has a core internship unit at the end of the degree, and you'll do 70 to 100 hours placement in a given workplace. And that unit can be done as an elective in any of the creative degrees. And so many of our art and design and music students will do an internship, and they could either find their own internship, maybe there's an agency they really want to work with, or we can assist with our kind of network and facilitate that. And we also have what are called project units. So again, kind of final year, large-scale projects where students might work in a team, and they might work with a client. Again, we'll try to facilitate contact through our networks, and they might do maybe they're doing a website for an agency, or they're working on their social media communication strategies. Our music students will often get placements, in music studios or with festivals. The festivals in our area are enormous. Whenever Splendour happens, they basically create an entire city in between Gold Coast and Byron. So there's plenty to be done, and there's plenty of opportunities for our students in these sites.
Yeah, and Kirsty, obviously you've been in the industry for a few years, and both of you guys, I'm sure, could answer this in the last few years with the challenges we faced of lockdowns and not being able to explore group crowding or anything like that. How's your industry been going, and what have you guys done to pivot? Has it been rewarding? Is there heaps of challenges in place, or?
Oh my gosh. So post-COVID, the music industry has exploded. Like, there is so much opportunity at the moment. I was speaking to a ticketing agency recently, and they are just back to back, like with festivals and shows that they've got going on. As you can see, we've welcomed international touring acts back. So we're just seeing this like bloom of like musicians, and even with the music awards, we've got all these creatives who have been doing the hard work behind the scenes in COVID, and now we've got all these new Gold Coast artists that are just popping up, and we're like, who the heck are you? Like, it's so exciting to see just all these amazingly talented musicians actually getting work and actually being able to provide for themselves and have a career and make money in the music industry.
And I love how technology has played such an important role, the mixture of digital media and music, and how artists now can explore different options to get their music out there, or themselves as a personality out there. It's so diverse and so much more opportunity compared to the limited ways maybe we had in the past. And talking about career outcomes and what our graduates have gone on to do, Grayson, do you know any first-hand graduates that have gone on to unique careers that you never thought of?
Or
just amazing careers in general?
Look, yeah, I'm one of the enormous joys of being a university lecturer is seeing where your students end up. That point from which they graduate, and then the next time they communicate with you and say good day, and they tell you about what they've been up to, and then suddenly, oh my golly, you're a sports media presenter for Channel 7. That's amazing. So that's one of our students. I'm losing her name right now, but anyway, she's on Katie Brown. Katie Brown, always had an interest in sports media, has now for a number of years been a sports presenter for Channel 7. So she's, in front of the camera. Plenty of our students have gone on to be behind the camera at like ABC, SBS, Foxtel, those kinds of things. And that's often been facilitated by internships that those agencies run, because many of our big national media agencies run formal internship programs. They're very competitive, and they're normally a genuine stepping, pathway into the industry. And our students get media communications jobs in the region, Arts Northern Rivers is a kind of peak arts agency, and one of our students for many years was their kind of media producer, communications officer. So, really interesting roles, and plenty of them go into their own business, right? They start production companies of their own in design, videography, what have you.
What my favorite part is when it comes to creative courses is the community and the relationships you created. I have a band that I've been following for a long time, and they're all 3 graduates, all from Southern Cross Lismore campus. And they opened Splendour one year, and then straight from opening Splendour, they've been touring Europe for 3 years in a row now. That Wolves band still have a very big connection here to Southern Cross, but also a lot more relationships that have came out of, I guess, just from that cohort. And I think that's really unique, and something that if any of our audiences are here to really pursue music or digital media and what's available to you, is it's not just about the course, it's about the relationships you're going to create while you're there and the industry connections. And once you're in the workforce, you never know who was in your cohort and what sort of career they've gone on to do, and they may tap you on the shoulder or vice versa, utilizing those unique work relationships because you guys all have different sets of skills. And I think that's something really exciting, especially in digital media where it's so diverse, from screenwriting to digital journaling or anything like that. There's so many different types of creatives in the world right now. It's not very distinct compared to what it was maybe in the past. And I think the last question I want to bring before I want to let the audience ask some questions is there any advice to any students you would give who are just starting out in the creative industry or enrolling into a first year creative course?
Go, Kirsty.
I think you hit it on the head. I would say collaborate. It is like your password into anything when it comes to creative, because you can be a musician or a band working with, a videographer, photographer, and you'll build these relationships while you're at university. And as you said, like, you can go into the industry post-uni, and you never know when you're going to need that last-minute photography session, or you've got a label calling up being like, we need a music video right now. So, yeah, just collaborate.
Relationships, perfect. Grayson?
I'll give you 2. Be curious, foster a spirit of inquiry and finding out. In the creative industries, you will never stop learning and you will never stop growing. So cultivate curiosity. And the second one, they're kind of allied, is do what scares you. What I've learned through many years of being both a university professor and a media artist is, if my work in some way, the project I'm conceiving of, about to move into, if that thing doesn't in some way scare me, if there's not some part of me that goes, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do that, then I'm not working hard enough. So do what scares you. If you're sitting there thinking, dreaming, and it seems impossible, that's the very reason to chase it.
There's a sense of entrepreneurship in the creative industries, isn't there, that people don't really talk about, but there truly is. And I want to make the most of you guys all being here who want to explore creative industries. Do we have any questions for our panelists here today?
Is there a similar position to yours in the visual fields,
Kirsty? I'm sure there would be. I work purely in the music industry, so I'm sure there would be in some way. Maybe you wouldn't. So our organisation is a privately owned organisation, but we work with council and we work with a lot of different bodies, government bodies, as well as like facilities like universities and also venues. So we have a good relationship with SOPO, which has opened up in Southport. So we work with lots of different music businesses as well as government bodies too.
Grayson, do we have any relationships when it comes to visual arts?
I think probably, I can't say in the Gold Coast or Brisbane that I would know what that might be. In the Northern Rivers, it's Arts Northern Rivers. They're a peak regional arts body, and there are comparable bodies all around the country. Arts Northern Rivers are funded by, Create New South Wales, and they're there to foster the creative industries as well as individual artists. They run workshops, they'll run artistic engagement programs, professional development, and they have databases of creatives, you know, artists, designers, jewelers, craftspeople, what have you. So yeah, I think Arts Northern Rivers are probably, they're not quite the equivalent, but they're in the zone, yeah.
If you are passionate about any of these courses and the options available to you, if you're currently in Year 12 and you'd love to apply to our university for any of those creative courses, apply through our early entry program. It's a fee-free application. It's based on the recommendation of your school, not entirely on your ATAR result. You can complete that application today with our team. Or alternatively, if you're a mature age student and you have a passion for creative industries and you're wishing to study, feel free to apply straight on our website. You're not required to go through QTAC or UAC. It's also a fee-free application. We have sessions intake starting from semester 1 or what we call term 1 next year. Alternatively, if you guys would like to answer more questions more one-on-one, feel free to meet our panelists just outside after this. We also have our client services team here to help you out today. If you do leave and you are wanting to find out more information, call our Future Students team on 1-800-626-481, and they're more than happy to talk to you about your course interests and your pathways to get into university. Thank you again.